So with all, I mean, we've been talking for a while now about all of these things, and we finally decided to sit down and tape this for posterity.
Wait, this is being recorded?
This is being recorded, and you're going to be on YouTube and on so many countries where Mind Bloom is listened to.
I hope they can understand my accent. Apparently,
even this remote country called Bristol.
Where? It's not even a country; it's a city. See, you don't even know.
So Agent Scott, tell me a little bit about your experience with mental health or mental illness, for that matter.
I think there's probably two main bits of my life, and one probably leads quite well into the other if the psychiatrist was to figure it all out for me. But, and I've spoken about this on other media before, I'm very open about it. My mother was abused by my father when I was a child. My earliest memories are of my biological father beating the leather out of my mum right in front of me. Not a pleasant memory. She left the household with myself and my brother when we were 5. Well, I was 5, he was a bit younger. And now she's married to a wonderful man. I call him dad now. Lovely. But I still saw my biological father for several years after that, because he had part parentage, or whatever the phrase is. And he progressively got more and more toxic. And that definitely left its print on me. And I felt from a very young age I had to act up, as it were. I had to be like my mum's protector, even though I wasn't. I couldn't do anything at 5 years old to a burly Scottish man doing what he wants when he's pissed out of his head, drunk, I should say. Sorry, not great. But I had this sort of like pressure on me. I felt from a very young age to have everything in control and be on top of everything and to be the man. And so I struggled a lot of that in my teenage years. And so that was probably the first bit. So I had a lot of anxiety. I didn't really deal with it very well. I probably lashed out a bit. I went through a very dark goth phase. I dealt with it. I got through it. But I haven't seen my biological father in 20 years, more or less now. So good riddance on that one. But it definitely left its mark. And the other bit, which is really what I would probably talk more about today, is I think it's led into a lot of body issues with myself. And I used to be quite overweight as a teenager. I didn't really exercise or know about exercise or good eating. And I eventually lost all the weight, not in a very good way, let's put it like that, but I lost the weight. And since then I've had body dysmorphia. I was eventually diagnosed with body dysmorphia, but I guess that's what I had for a very long time. And it eventually built into bulimia. The only thing I would say in terms of me is with the purging aspect of bulimia, because there's the binge and the purge, I wouldn't vomit. I would go to the gym for 5 hours.
I see.
Which is it is another version of purging. It's not the most obvious version everyone does, but it is a different version of it. So I've been battling the bulimia, body dysmorphia for I think about 10 years. It's only been diagnosed in the last few. Yeah.
You seeked help?
That's right.
Point?
Yeah, so it kind of got to a head at one point when I noticed that I was ditching social events. I was spending every free bit of time at the gym or exercising, or I'd find myself in the house running on the spot or doing squats or something just to feel like I wasn't fat. Which is a horrible thing, really. I'm with my partner still, and when I realized that, I was still with her at the time, and she stuck through with that. She must have dealt with some insane behavior. I think I must have gone through at some points, but eventually I reached out to the NHS. Fortunately, we have the NHS in this country. It took some hoops to jump through to get anyone to see me because I wasn't suicidal, and so they were like, well, maybe we'll put you in group therapy. And I was like, well, no, because that doesn't really do it. And eventually, after about 6 months of haranguing and trying to get help, I was eventually given CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's definitely helped me kind of get a grasp of it. I'm not in control of it. I still exercise probably more than the average person, but I have stuff in my house that I exercise with, so it's fine. But it isn't taking over my life as much now. But I can see how it could easily slip back into that, and it's a very dangerous place to be. But that's basically where it got to.
So you're still seeing someone, a professional? How did that go?
No, unfortunately not. I was only allowed 8 sessions on the NHS because it's obviously free or paid for by my taxes. But at the end of the 8 sessions, she deemed that I was quote unquote cured, and discharged me. We had made some progress, but I still think there was probably a lot more there to dig into. But we don't have a lot of therapy right at the moment because you can't do one-to-one counselling sessions. You can do it via Zoom, which for me isn't a very good way of dealing with it. So I haven't been able to see anyone during lockdown. I've been doing a lot of reading to try and help, but yeah, so that only lasted 8 sessions. So I've not really had much of an opportunity to talk about it with people.
So when you say that you lost weight in a not very healthy way, what do you mean? Was it through exercise?
Exercise and starvation, I'd say. And that's probably where some of the bulimic traits started around about the age of 16. And for reference, I'm 33 now. So it's been, someone do the math and let me know, 17 years, I think, since then. But I went from about 18 stone to what I am now, which I think is about 10 or 12. I don't know stones very well, but I knew I was 18 stone. I'm about 75 kilograms now. I'm not sure what the difference is, but I've lost a lot of weight. And that happened very quickly and very rapidly. And, but then I had that positive reinforcement when I was in school, because I came back after the summer and I had lost all this weight, and girls were interested in me all of a sudden. And I was in my band, was doing quite well, and you get a lot of attention. All this stuff was going well. So I had a good feedback loop from losing the weight, which I think is something that definitely imprinted itself in my mind, because if you look back a bit, I had to try and control the situation with my mother. And so now I found another way I can try and control my life, and that is from weight management. And you get that positive reinforcement of, Scott, you look so healthy. Scott, you look great, blah, blah, blah. And you think, this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think I just must have dug in really deep, and it's just in my head.
I see. And then did you see yourself binging? Did it become a reality? You noticed it?
It wasn't really until people pointed out to me, specifically the therapist, that I noticed how bad it was. But I would do things like I'd go to the supermarket. I don't know what you guys call them.
Supermarket.
Walmart or something like that for the Americans here. And I would buy, like a box of biscuits or cookies or something like that. I would go home, eat them in secret, and then hide the packaging.
From whom?
Whoever. So, my partner now at the time when I was doing it, or before that, previous partners, or even when I was living by myself, I would scurry away and eat it and hide it. Even though living by myself, why am I hiding it?
I see.
You feel that sort of guilt.
Shame, yeah.
Yeah, which would then cycle back into, okay, now I have to go to the gym for 3 hours and starve myself for a day to try and fix it.
Because you had, yeah.
Yeah.
What triggered you? I don't mean I don't know specific events in your life, but what were your triggers? Did it anxiety?
I think it's something that we probably didn't dig enough into in the 8 sessions I had, but something I know myself is, I think anxiety is part of it. I've definitely dealt with anxiety most of my life in one way, shape, or form. So I think it's more of a lack of control. So if I feel like I haven't got a grasp on something, I start to have this feeling of like, well, sod it. I'm not going to swear on your podcast. Sod it. I will, throw caution to the wind and have a binge evening. I'll order a massive pizza and I'll have some ice cream and blah, blah, blah. And then the next day I'll wake up and then I'll just be, this massive emotional like wave of guilt will come over me. And then I know I've messed up for the next day. But it was an attempt to try and control everything. It was a strange circle to be in, but I was doing it for over 10 years.
Yeah. Do you still feel the need to? Yeah, it
happens. I think lockdown's been quite healthy for me overall. I work from home. I am able to control what I do, and I live quite a peaceful life in a very green corner of London. We're soon to get a dog. I'm even looking forward to that.
Nice.
But I feel the compulsion sometimes.
And what do you do?
What I've learned to do is to try not to. It sounds silly, but try not to feel guilty about it, which is bizarre. Well, that's what they told me to do, basically. And like, if you want to have a large pizza and some ice cream,
do it.
We're human beings. If we fancy something, eat it. We both work jobs. We both have money to pay for the pizza. That's not a problem. So just enjoy it, and don't feel shame. And I think that was one of the biggest things to get over, was the whole shameful. And the other thing was to try and curb the end result, which was to spend longer in the gym. Not that I haven't been to a gym since lockdown started. I dare not go into them, but spending 4 hours working out as a result of having this large pizza is not the healthy way to go. So just continue your life as if it were. And one of the things we did in CBT was a sort of science experiment almost, where they would say, right, go have a large pizza and then just do your normal amount of exercise the next day. Do that and then see if the scale changes. Like, I'd weigh myself, and lo and behold, it wouldn't make a difference because I was still exercising quite a lot. A large pizza is not going to make a dent. But my brain thought it would make me instantaneously 18 stone again.
Right.